Well, it's here. It's finally upon us. The Last of Us Season 2. And I went back and forth on if I was going to cover every individual episode or just do a recap at the end of the season.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
I'm still a bit undecided on that, but after seeing last night's episode, I've got some things I want to talk about. So, we're going to do that. The first episode of Season 2 has already pissed me off. There's some stark differences between it and the game, and I'm going to get into how. Jarvis, cue the intro.
Say what again? Say what again? Say what again? Say what again?
Alright, look, I know that I've done quite a bit of videos on The Last of Us here on the channel, and if you haven't watched those, I'll shamelessly link them at the end of this video.
You will?
I'm already self-promoting. Apparently I'm doing that now. Anyway, just like my last one, this is an open discussion. Sling whatever you want to at me. Your analysis, what you think they did right, what you think they did wrong, call me names, whatever. No comment will be deleted, and I'll respond to any and every one. Anyway, I know I've done quite a bit on this series, but in all fairness, the first game is my favorite game of all time. So naturally, I'm going to want to talk about it, and if you folks are willing to listen, I'm just going to keep doing it.
You can't keep getting away with this!
What I'm about to say will have spoilers, so if you haven't seen the first episode, click the hell off this video. Also, like, subscribe, that whole chestnut.
Whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Before anyone says the show isn't supposed to be a one-for-one adaptation, that would be boring, because I got a lot of that on my last video, hear me out. Fans of this series are passionate, alright? Welcome to nerd culture. It's how we operate over here. So even though a shot-for-shot recreation of one of our favorite games is obviously out of the question, we want Hollywood to hug this sacred source material as much as humanly possible. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, that's out of the way. Bella Ramsey sucks.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
I mean it. And look, I'm not trying to be like the millions of other people on the internet that are hating just to hate, so let me lay my thoughts out here as best as I can. Alright, there's a reason for it. One of the things that aggravated me most about her representation of Ellie in Season 1 was that she came off as an asshole-ish, obnoxious know-it-all. And what do you know? Here it is again, out in full force, except somehow it's worse in the first episode of Season 2. And that's aggravating as all hell. See, Ellie in the game is a very likable, quirky, sometimes rash teenager that also manages to be resourceful and an absolute badass at times. Ramsey's version of the character takes all of those positive qualities and overshadows them with the basic trope of, hey, I'm a pissed off, rebellious, argumentative teenager. And it comes off so terribly on screen that I was about 20 minutes in and I was hoping the showrunners were going to pull a fast one and just axe her character off altogether. I mean, come on, did you see her training with that big old dude in the barn? If he didn't pull that punch, he would have taken her head off. To my not dismay, by the way. Okay, I'm being a bit harsh, but seriously, I don't understand the character development choices here. Ellie is 5 years older in Season 2, and all the bad qualities of last season have gotten worse instead of better. Where she was resisting listening to Joel in Season 1, she's now pretty much telling Tommy to fuck off and arguing with him over gate duty. She mouths off at whoever and whatever she can, including the residents of the town she lives in. You'd think if you were a part of such a small community, you'd try to keep the old reputation on the up and up instead of being the town dickhead, but what do I know?
You know nothing.
Granted, some of Joel's qualities have rubbed off on her, both for good and for bad, which I did like, but for the life of me, I don't know why she acts like an insufferable know-it-all still. She thinks she's invincible just because she can't get infected. Another thing I couldn't help but notice here is that they're framing Joel in a more villainous, unlikable way. See, in the second game, Joel does struggle with the decision he made at the end of the first game, but not to this degree, and not in this angle. The opening moments of the second game are gone here, and that was obviously done on purpose because they reinforce Joel's decision and his humanity. We see him talking to Tommy about what happened with the Fireflies, and when pressed about the details surrounding the events, Joel states,
I saved her.
which once again brings up the moral ambiguity of his decision. In the show, that scene is replaced with Joel talking to his therapist, Catherine O'Hara, about it. Yep, that's a real thing. That's a real thing that happened in this show. Oh, for Christ's sake. And then there's the kissing scene, which was almost a shot-for-shot adaptation of the same scene in the game because, of course it was. If there's something they're not going to screw up, it's going to be Ellie being gay. Anyway, the kissing thing happens, some old fart speaks up about it in front of God and everyone, and Joel comes flying from off-screen and Pearl Harbors the hell out of the guy. Why? There's no clue. It was a massive overreaction on Joel's part, in my opinion, and, Ellie gets pissed off about it. Why? Also, no clue. You'd think you'd be proud of someone sticking up for you, especially if you're gay, but apparently we can't do that either. I say that because I'm getting a sneaking suspicion that they're softening Joel up to look even more like a bad guy, so when that one thing happens, it won't impact the audience as much as it did those who played the game. Oh, and that's not even a spoiler anymore, because guess what? This Abby imposter lady pretty much comes out and says the shit in the first 5 minutes of the episode. Absolutely brilliant, Neil. I gotta tell you.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more.
Before I end this video and head off to do some day drinking, because that's what my life has devolved to at this point, one other absence I noticed in this episode is the guitar scene. Granted, we do see the guitar show up, but in the game, before everything sets off, before we go 5 years into the future, Joel actually has an interaction with Ellie in a garage. He gives her the guitar, but before he does, he sings her Future Days by Pearl Jam.
If I ever were to lose you, I'd surely lose myself.
It's a beautiful moment, it reinforces just how close Joel and Ellie are. It shows how much they care for one another. And we get to see that before things start to crumble between the two of them years later. It was a testament, a living song that showed how he saved Ellie from death and how she saved him from losing the small bit of hope he had left. But why do all that when you can just paint Joel as the bad guy from the start, am I right? Anyway, that's all I've got here, guys. Maybe I'll do an episode-by-episode analysis. I don't know. I'm not quite sure I've got the patience for it because I'm already pissed off about Season 2. Hopefully things get better. Sincerely, hopefully they do. But at this point, I'm not really holding my breath. I appreciate y'all for checking out my video. I'll talk to y'all later.